It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
The fact is that the Union College football team went 0-10 this year. The fact is that after that last game, head football coach John Audino was asked about his job security, and the fact is that he had this to say.
Job done. I know I'm a good coach. I know we have good coaches. I know we have good players, and obviously we got to do a little bit more work in the offseason to get ourselves bigger, faster, stronger, and a little bit better. But hey, I don't know if I'm in control of anything at this particular point other than just giving the best effort that I possibly can.
So 1 month ago, after their last football game, Union College football coach John Audino told News Channel 10 he wants to be back. He's got good players. He's got good coaches. He thinks he's a good coach. That is a fact. Well, the fact is also now John Audino is no longer the head football coach at Union College. It is being called, quote, a retirement to pursue other coaching opportunities. Let me repeat that. It's being called a retirement to pursue other coaching opportunities. My first question is this. If you're pursuing other coaching opportunities, are you really retiring? Doesn't really pass the smell test there for me. And it leads me to wonder, is it really a retirement? Or did some people at Union College want him out? And look, don't let my skepticism be the ones that sways you. I talked before the show to Joe Calderone. You know him. He's been everywhere in the Capital Region, all over the Capital Region sports scene. He runs CapitalRegionSportsNet.com now. And I asked him, I said, hey, are you skeptical of this wording too? Are you skeptical of the wording that John Audino, Union College football coach, is, quote, retiring to pursue other options?
A month later, too, he's retiring to pursue other coaching opportunities. It just doesn't make sense. And again, full disclosure, I've covered Union athletics and I've got friends over there. But it is what it is. Everybody can see you're letting him go. At least that's my opinion. Now, I wasn't a fly on the wall in the conversation between John and the school, but anybody who had a tweet out that day or anybody that I've talked to, we're all kind of saying retiring with an opportunity to go coach somewhere else. It just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. John Audino has been the head football coach at Union College for 24 years. He's taken his team to 5 NCAA tournaments, 152 and 89 career record. Bottom line is this: John Audino's team went 0-10 this season, 5-25 over the last 3 years, and that right there leads people to believe. So they're skeptical that he's retiring to pursue other options. And you heard Joe Calderone say, I think everyone can see that they're letting him go. And that shouldn't be the case because John Audino has done nothing. In Division III athletics, you generally don't see people fired, let go, forced into retire because of just bad performance on the field. Okay, generally there's something else at play there. Scandal. Violations, lack of graduation rate, poor grades on your team. Those are the things that generally get you let go at Division III programs, not your performance record. Well, John Audino had been to 5 NCAA tournaments, 152 wins versus 89 losses. He's got 145 players selected to the All-Liberty League academic teams, and the term is student athlete. So his kids are getting it done in the classroom, and by and large, in those 24 years, they've gotten it done on the field of play as well. The last 3 have been down, sure. There's no, we don't excuse John Audino's record in the last 3 years, 5-25. But over 24 years, he's built up a program. He's built up a legacy at Union. He's got them a culture of winning in that program. And now to hear that he is, quote, retiring to pursue other coaching opportunities, as Joe Calderone said, it just doesn't make any sense.
Say retiring with an opportunity to go coach somewhere else, it just doesn't make any sense.
Does not make any sense. It's Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. I'm your host, Brady Farkas. We do this every Saturday. Every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m., all the local sports that you want to hear, that you care about here at 104.5 The Team and 104.5theteam.com. And if you're not paying attention to this story, you need to. Joe Girard III, freshman basketball player at Glens Falls, put up 52 points. 52 points on Tuesday night. He went 22 for 22 at the foul line. He had 8 3-pointers. This kid has been on varsity since 8th grade. He was dominating a year ago in 8th grade, and now as a 9th grader, he's probably the best player in the Foothills Council. I have not seen him yet. I have not seen the Foothills Council yet this season, but I'd be hard-pressed to find someone that goes out and goes for 52. And by the way, he put up 40 last night. Put up 40 last night. Joe Girard III of Glens Falls, and now we bring in Will Springstead of the Glens Falls Post-Star. And Will, you know, Steve D'Agostino told me about this kid, Joe Girard III at Glens Falls, a year ago. He told me that the moment this kid steps over half court, he is in range. Is that your take?
That is my assessment. I saw him do it a few times last year. And the other thing, going back to the free throws that makes him such a great player, is he's got phenomenal body control. If he's driving to the lane, if there's a guy within 2 inches of him, he finds a way to draw contact, usually make the bucket, and get the foul shot to boot. It's a great skill for anyone, but to have it as an 8th grader or a freshman, it's just something else.
Now, I've never seen him play. I know he plays on the football team as well. What's he like physically? When you think of a 9th grader, you think of a guy who's underdeveloped, who's not going to be able to do a lot at the varsity level, but it sounds as if he's the best player on the floor every single time he takes it.
It pretty much is. I mean, with the exception of the odd senior that you might see him go up against, who's obviously maybe a little more cut or chiseled. But he's in very good shape. He's put on a little bit of muscle since last year, which is to be expected. He had a decent amount of muscle mass to him as an 8th grader, and he's about 5'11". I think he's listed on the roster as 6 feet, and just very in control at all times, whether he's shooting a three, playing defense. He's got good physical balance, which helps him in his all-around game.
Will Springstead of the Glens Falls Post-Star with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your #1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. And Will, we're talking about Joe Girard III, the Glens Falls freshman, scored 52 points on Tuesday, poured in 40 more last night. And I guess the cynic can say, well, hey, anyone can put up those point totals if they just shoot every time down the floor. So how do his points come? Does he get his shots through the flow of an offense?
He is taking, obviously, most of the shots, but they do come within the flow of the offense because he can't always launch a three. After he starts hitting a few threes, teams get wise to him, and so the coaches, both last year and this year, have developed ways to get him the ball. It's not always the same way, and him being so versatile, he can do that.
Last year, we made a big deal about Joel Winkowski of Lake George breaking Jimmer Fredette's all-time scoring lead in Section 2, finishes his career with more than 2,500 points, now playing over at UMBC. And I was talking with Jess Kohler of the Times-Union the other day, and she told me that Girard is already nearing 1,000 points now, not even midway through his 9th grade season. It certainly seems like Winkowski's record is attainable for Girard if he stays healthy, does it not?
It certainly does. We were calculating a few numbers last night, and we had him just at 25 points a game. I think I'd have to check, but if you do 25 points a game over the course of his career, given that he stays healthy, it's going to be 2,600 plus. And, you know, given the fact that he's averaging 37.8 per game now, you might think that 25's on the low side. So heaven knows the future's promising for him.
What's the buzz up there, up north about this kid? Obviously only a 9th grader. Are people just getting aware of who he is, and is the buzz starting to grow now, or have we been looking for this kid coming up for a while?
We've been looking for this kid. He hit the scene up north when he, as an elementary school student, started winning all these national free throw hoop shooting contests. He's always been known as a great foul shooter, and then the question was, as he got older, could he develop the all-around game to go with it? Looks like our answer is yes.
Will Springstead of the Glens Falls Post-Star with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. Joe Girard, the Glens Falls freshman, scores 52 points on Tuesday, scores 40 last night. He's averaging more than 37 points a game so far this season. And Will, after the game on Tuesday, Jimmer Fredette tweets at Girard, congratulating him on his performance. Jimmer is the favorite son of Glens Falls. Is he going to be on that level by the time he leads Glens Falls in a few years?
I think he might. I think he might. It would be hard for me to believe that anyone could surpass Jimmer in terms of likability or just magneticism. As you well know, people just flock to Jimmer and everything that he is for it. But Joe seems to be a special young man and certainly an amazing basketball talent already.
Will Springstead of the Glens Falls Post-Star with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, talking about Joe Girard, the Glens Falls freshman. Will, we're going to be keeping tabs on the box scores from up north here all through the rest of the year. Will, thanks for being with us.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Brady.
Absolutely. Thank you, Will Springstead of the Glens Falls Post-Star with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. Joe Girard, 52 points on Tuesday, 40 points yesterday. That's a pretty good week there for the ninth grader. Some people, that's, for me, that was almost a whole season's worth of points. That's 92 points in 2 games. And, for me, for better or worse, that was almost a full week. Coming up on the other side of the break, Albany High School football coach Joey DiPiazza helping put the Falcons on the map here locally, while also getting them on the map nationally. He joins us live from Atlanta next.
It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
The struggles of Albany High football were well documented. Hadn't won a Class AA game since 2007. Coming into this year, they break that streak in the last game of the regular season by beating Colony. Then they win 2 more games, beating Averill Park and Mahonison. And head coach Joey DiPiazza in his first year, a major reason why. And Coach DP now joining us on the line here, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. Coach, you win the Dove Men Cares Coaching Award, one of a few recipients nationally. Yesterday, you were at the College Football Hall of Fame. What's it been like for you down there?
Brady, happy to be on, especially knowing that today is the kickoff to the college football season, which starts right here in Atlanta. So it's been it's electric down here. It's the College Football Hall of Fame is located right in the heart of Atlanta's sport and entertainment tourism district, right next to Phillips Arena, down the road from the College Football Hall of Fame. And with the bowl game starting in a couple hours, it's the environment's been electric and just fantastic experience.
Now, you've been on with us a few times since you took the job last November, and everyone who's heard you on our show knows that you're not a guy who looks too much for the personal accolades. But in this case, you being on such a national stage, this can only help the Albany High football program, right?
I'm truly honored and have been extremely fortunate to be part of the Albany football family and the whole rebuilding process. Many coaches enter situations where sometimes they're just not allowed to succeed, and this whole rebuilding process this year has been just so supportive, and it's allowed our players to move forward and just to be able to have the success that we've had this year.
Now, you're receiving this award for all the things you've done, not only just on the field, taking a team that didn't have a lot of success to getting 3 wins in a row at the end of the season, but as you mentioned, the rebuilding. Now you've got a new field over there. You've had new uniforms this season. You've really got a sense of pride growing within the Albany High community that extends beyond the field. That's been something you've been shooting for, right?
From day one, and our kids are truly special at Albany, and they deserved a chance to win, and it was great to see us as a district, us as a community, and as coaches. We had a responsibility to make it happen for our kids because of the commitment that they have given, and it's just been so great just to, as a whole, make it happen for our kids.
I think if I read right, you only have 1 senior this year. Is that right?
We had 4 seniors this year.
4. So the cupboard is not bare at Albany High. Not only now are you guys trending upward towards the end of this season, you're going to bring back nearly all of your marquee athletes and players next year as well. So that on the field success should continue to grow.
We're continuing to just get better as football players, in the off season, and we had some great success on the football field, and the one thing I know about our kids, they've been working extremely hard since the season ended just to continue to get better and improve as football players. So, we're looking forward to next season for sure.
Now, you told me yesterday you were texting me back and forth, but a little bit of spotty service. So yesterday you were listening to Bob Stoops speak, the coach at Oklahoma?
Bob Stoops, what a great honor and first-class coach. Everything he's got going on preparing for his big game. Took time out of his busy schedule, excuse me, just to recognize, myself and the other coaches that were selected as, Dove Men Coach of the Year. And, he champions the idea of, not just making great football players, but making an impact on players, on their lives as a whole. And, it was great to hear him give a shout out to all the coaches, as well as we had Kevin Butler, the former place kicker for the Chicago Bears Super Bowl championship team there, just supporting us as well.
Joey DiPiazza, head football coach, Albany High, with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday. He's down in Florida receiving the award for the Dove Men Cares Coach of the Year, one of a few recipients nationally, and really doing a great job getting Albany High and the Capital Region in the forefront nationally. Coach, congratulations on your award. Enjoy the bowl game down there. Enjoy some good weather, and happy holidays back up here, and best of luck.
Brady, thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. Coach DiPiazza, we will talk to you again soon. As always, a friend of the show, Joey DiPiazza, doing a great job on the field and off the field and in the community at Albany High. It's Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. I am your host, Brady Farkas. So I was at the Albany Cup last week, and it was a great environment. Siena beats UAlbany 78-70. And if you remember, Zach Bai, the UAlbany broadcaster, was here last week with me sitting in on the show, and I told him, I said at the end of the show, I closed the show with this. I said, I think UAlbany is the better team. I think UAlbany will go farther in the America East, and Siena will go in the MAC. But Siena wins this game 78-71. 78-71 was my prediction. The final score is 78-70 in favor of Siena. So sign me up. Bring me to Vegas as you head there for the new year. I'm available all the time. But that, my prognostication ability was not my biggest takeaway from the Albany Cup. My biggest takeaway from the Albany Cup is that Siena is back. Siena is back. If you're a fan of the MAC, if you're a fan of Siena, you've got something to be excited about this season. Siena is fast. They are fun to watch. They get up and down the floor. They average nearly 80 points a game. 5 players in double figures, the Saints average. They average 5 players in double figures. And we're going to talk to Lucius Jordan, who's the assistant basketball coach at Siena. We're going to talk to him in 10 minutes. That's coming up at 9:30. And Lucius Jordan, not only does he coach at Siena, well, he played at UAlbany. So what was the Albany Cup like from his perspective? He's got a unique perspective like no one else, and he joins us at 9:30. But Siena, Marquise Wright, an electrifying guard, can shoot it from the outside, can get off the dribble. He didn't even play well. He didn't even play that well. Was in foul trouble, had 4 fouls with about 10 minutes left in the game. Had to sit and come in and out a lot. They won without him playing well. Levon Long, 19 points. Javion Oganyemi, the Troy native, had 4 rim-rattling dunks. 4 rim-rattling dunks to close that game out and put away the Great Danes. Defensively, Siena was in UAlbany's shorts. They made them uncomfortable. Siena is a tough, hard-nosed, gritty team, and then they bring in Nico Clareth. Nico Clareth, the freshman, off the bench, hits a couple of threes. It's 3 threes. He's got the swagger. He's hyping up the crowd. Look, I could do without some of the theatrics that he provides, but make no doubt about it, the kid is exciting. He wins MAC Rookie of the Week this week, and Siena is back. Now, I still think UAlbany is better overall. UAlbany, remember, was playing without Mike Rowley and Richard Peters down low. I still think the Danes are better. I still think the Danes are going farther in their league. But Siena's going to compete for a MAC championship. I don't know if they'll win it, but they're going to compete for a MAC title. Brett Bisping down low with Javion Oganyemi. They've got a great front court presence. Marquise Wright. They've got a great point guard. They've got Ryan Oliver, who's a 6th man, along with Nico Clareth. Siena has all the pieces in place, and they get up and down the floor. They play fast, they play physical, and they play and having a lot of fun. And then Jimmy Patsos, well, he's a character, and he's exciting to watch and watch coach his team as well. Siena will play for a MAC championship this year. You can mark that down right now. I don't know if they're going to win it, but they're going to be in the mix. They were picked preseason number 5 in the MAC. I think this is a top 3 team or better. Siena's a top 3 team or better in the MAC, and the MAC tournament is here in Albany. And you fans that packed the Times Union Center last Saturday night, nearly 11,000 strong of you, and most of you in green and yellow. If you can get out there in the MAC tournament and support this team, I think Siena, I think they've got a real chance to cut down the nets here at home in the MAC tournament, and we could have 2 teams in the NCAA tournament from this area, UAlbany and Siena. Then you throw in the UAlbany women, you could have 3, and what a great march that would be for the Capital Region. It is Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. From a great hoop story to a not-so-great hoop story. Glens Falls, the Civic Center, this will be the last year of the New York State Public High School Athletic Association state tournament in Glens Falls. This is the last year that Glens Falls will host a tournament. It's going to go to Binghamton for a 3-year run. That was decided yesterday. And it's really unfortunate how this whole thing shook down because, like all things seem to be, even at the high school level, the Daily Gazette had this headline, and it says it perfectly. I want to give them due credit for it. The Daily Gazette headline: "Money talks even in high school athletics." Money talks even in high school athletics. I had on before the show Robert Zayas, the executive director of the New York State Public High School Athletic Association, and we talked about it, why Glens Falls was losing the state tournament, and the reason why is money. Here's what Robert Zayas had to say before the show.
And now Binghamton has also offered us not only a zero bid, but also tacked on an additional $30,000 to use towards tournament expenses starting in 2017 and then the 18 and 19 championships as well. So when you look at the bid that Binghamton submitted is really just, looking at it from a financial standpoint, it's phenomenal. But also Binghamton has a lot of the upgrades that Glens Falls is currently in the process of doing to their facility. You also look at Binghamton was able to offer us a free athletic trainer. Glens Falls, we would have paid about $1,200 for an athletic trainer.
Bottom line is this: Glens Falls has hosted the state tournament for 35 years. They'll host it no more, and it's because of money. Binghamton wins the bid for the next 3 years, and it's because of the financial reasons. That was Robert Zayas of the New York State Public High School Athletic Association with me earlier in the show. That full interview will be available online, youtube.com/team1045, right after the show ends. That full interview will be available online, youtube.com/team1045 after the show ends. And the Gazette also broke it down. If you couldn't quite gather it all from that clip, here's how it breaks down. Binghamton's bid includes a free arena rental and $30,000 in extra money for promotion, sponsorship, really whatever the state, their discretion is. They're also going to provide a free athletic trainer. Glens Falls was offering $12,500 on arena rental, and then they were going to offer $25,000 to cover other expenses. So bottom line, it's cheaper to have this tournament in Binghamton. The tradition of having in Glens Falls doesn't mean a whole lot. 35 years running, Glens Falls has hosted the New York State boys basketball tournament. They will host it no longer after this year. It's because it's cheaper to hold the tournament in Binghamton. Their bid came in stronger financially, so Binghamton's going to take the tournament away from Glens Falls. So if you're a high school fan who looks forward to going up to the Civic Center every March, and seeing the Jimmer Fredettes, the Taylor Battles, everyone that you've gone, the Kevin Herders, this is your last year to do it. This is your last year to do it for at least the next 3 as the state tournament is going to Binghamton. That's a sad day. It's a sad day for the Capital Region, really. And yesterday, really a tough one here if you're a fan of high school sports in the area. It is Capital Region Sports Saturday, and we're brought to you by Mohawk Honda. Where at Mohawk Honda, we strive for perfection every single day by providing the most impeccable customer service, because that is the key to any success. At Mohawk Honda, they try to do things right all the time for their entire family of customers. And yes, over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles available to select from. Yes, open extended hours in all of their departments to better service you. Yes, you can shop over 10 acres of savings opportunities, or you can just go online 24/7 at MohawkHonda.com. And yes, they'll provide you the lowest, no-hassle price to better suit your budget. Our Mohawk Exchange Specialist can assist you in upgrading your current vehicle to a newer one with no money down for the same or lower payment. Please ask for Tiffany, Katie, or Vide to see just how easy it is to exchange your vehicle for the same or lower payment. So please shop the convenient Route 50 in Glenville location to join the #1 automotive family at Mohawk Honda, where they always go out of their way to please you. A house divided. We know that the UAlbany-Siena rivalry, we know it could divide your house. But how is it when that rivalry is internalized? That's the situation for Lucius Jordan. He played at Siena. He played at UAlbany. He coaches currently at Siena. He joins us next.
It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
Yes, we are back, and on the phone right now, Lucius Jordan, Siena Saints men's basketball assistant coach, but he also played at UAlbany and helped the Danes get to their first NCAA tournament back in 2006. And Lucius, we spent all last week's show talking about the Albany Cup, a game that you guys win 78-70. What are your emotions like during that game? You've been on both sides of it now. Are you happy it's over? Does it tug at the heartstrings? What are your emotions?
Well, first of all, I'm super happy it's over. I mean, that's probably one of the toughest games for me personally. But you know what? I'm a competitor, and I'm happy for our guys, and more importantly, I'm happy for the Siena fans. It's a great game for the area, and for us to pull out a win. I mean, you can't even ask for a better college game like that in a better college environment. And the fact that we came out with a win, they beat us 2 times in a row. While we've been here as a Siena staff, we're just elated to get the W.
Lucius Jordan, Siena Saints men's basketball assistant coach, former UAlbany player with us on Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. And Lucius, you guys at Siena off to a 7-4 start. You'll take on St. Bonaventure on the 22nd. You guys are averaging 5 players at double figures. That kind of scoring balance and depth, that's pretty unprecedented at the mid-major level.
Yeah, you know what? We're fortunate to have the talented players that we do have. It's very hard to beat a team, like you said, when you have 5 guys averaging double digits, 4 of them being starters. Then with Nico Clares coming off the bench and giving us what he can give us. You never know what you're going to get from. You can't really prepare to guard one guy because again you have 4 other guys scoring in double digits. So. We're very fortunate to have those guys.
Now, you were on the UAlbany team that got to the first of Will Brown's NCAA tournaments, that hard-fought game when you were 16 seed, lost to UConn. What's harder? Is it harder to build the program up to get it to that level, or is it harder coming into Siena? You're trying to help rebuild a program with so much history. Which one's more difficult?
I think it could go either way. I mean, I think it's very hard to build a program up that was already there because the pressure's on, especially with this type of fan base. They're used to winning and they expect to be in the NCAA tournament because they've had so much success. From previous year with previous coaches. So for us as coaches, we take pride in getting this program back to where we see fit and where the Siena family and the Siena community and all the great alumni want to see this program back to. But I mean, as a player, when I played at UAlbany, that was also difficult too. But you're just elated to actually get to that point because when you're a college basketball player, especially in high school, your dream is to play an NCAA tournament. So you take a lot of gratitude and the fact that you work your butt off to get to that point. So I think it's like the lesser of two evils.
Lucius Jordan, Siena Saints men's basketball assistant coach with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your #1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. And Lucius, Jimmy Patsos is the head coach of Siena. He's on our station frequently with Armin Levac. He says he's tried to mellow down a little bit this season. What's it like with the new Jimmy Patsos?
It's been good. You know what? He's been great. I mean, he's going to have his own way. And I think sometimes when he is mellow, the guys are looking for him to fire them up, I should say. But he's been great. I mean, coach is coach. He's gonna be fiery at times. Sometimes he's gonna sit back and kind of give these guys confidence and let them play through stuff and let them figure it out themselves. But he's been great. We love being around him. The guys love playing for him. We love coaching for him as a staff. And we can't say enough for what he's doing for the program.
It's typical coach speak for you to say. I'm sure that the team didn't look at preseason projected finishes, that they don't matter. But you guys were picked 5th place in the MAC preseason. But you guys are certainly looking like a team that's at least in the top 3, if not higher. Did that motivate you at all going into this season?
You know what? I think it motivated some guys. I think for the young guys, they don't realize how tough the MAC league actually is. But I think if you're a competitor, especially a player, you want that. You want to be motivated by that. Our guys think they're the best team in the league, and we want them to have that mentality. As long as they're coming out every single day and working as they are the best team in the league. You can't say you want to be the best team in the league and kind of give a half effort. We need a strong effort from these guys every single day, and they've been giving that to us thus far. And I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to continue to do it. And I think they will continue to use that as motivation. I mean, Marquise uses things as motivation. Brett uses things as motivation. And those are our 2 leaders. And Jay Gunn himself and Levon and everybody else is just going to follow those guys. And, they've been doing
One thing I've wanted to know, and I haven't had anyone to talk to with a good perspective on this, and you're the guy, I think. Going back to you, Albany, when we talk about Evan Singletary, I think he's probably the best guard in the America East. Does he remind you of Jamar Wilson, probably the best player in Albany history?
You know what he does? It's hard for me to say somebody's like Jamar because I played with him and he was a hell of a player. So I don't want to give anybody that much credit yet because that is one of my good friends. But to go without saying, Evan Singletary is extremely, extremely good. He worried me the most coming into this game because he is one of those players on a team that can get their shot off at any time. He can break down the defense, get in the teeth of the defense, and cause a lot of havoc. Luckily, we did a good job on him. Kenny and Marquise, our other guards, all did a really good job on him. But that's, great players have off games. But he's really good, and I think, when his career is said and done, hopefully he walks away with 2 American East championships, and I tip my hat off to him because as much as I'm working at Siena, I love Albany, and I want to see those guys be successful, and I think Evan's going to have a bright future ahead of him.
Lucius Jordan with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. He's the assistant basketball coach at Siena. He's a former Albany player. He's also a Section 2 guy, a 518 product, played his high school ball at Colony High School. So, Lucius, best of luck to you and the Saints. Happy holidays. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me on.
Absolutely, Lucius, anytime. And really a cool story. Again, no one with the perspective that Lucius Jordan has on the Albany-Siena rivalry, the Albany Cup. I certainly do believe he is relieved to have that game over. Imagine, again, a house divided is one thing, but an internal division is another. And I've always wanted to ask the question about Evan Singletary. Does he remind people of Jamar Wilson? And he was the guy to ask. So, Albany home tonight. They'll take on St. Francis of Pennsylvania. That game 7 p.m. over at CEFCU Arena. Siena will play on the 22nd against St. Bonaventure. They'll play for the Franciscan Cup. And both teams off to 7-4 starts. So it's Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number 1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. Another big New York sports news this week. The Mets are bringing sexy back. Big sexy. Bartolo Colon back with the Metropolitans for 2016, a deal worth more than $7 million for 1 year. And Bartolo Colon, that's a great pickup for the Mets. It's a great move for the Mets to bring back Bartolo Colon. The Mets are trying to get back to the World Series. And Bartolo Colon is a guy who will be unheralded, but is a guy that can help them do it. And there are several reasons why. Because, number one, he's going to hold down the rotation until Zach Wheeler gets back. He's going to hold down the rotation until Zach Wheeler gets back. Remember, Zach Wheeler, the guy who's now the 4th forgotten guy in the quartet of Matt Harvey, Jacob deGrom, Noah Syndergaard, and Zach Wheeler. He's a forgotten man in that because he missed all of last year with Tommy John surgery. He's not going to be back until June. That's optimistic that he's back in the rotation by June. Bartolo Colon holds down the fort until he gets back. And remember, the Mets don't have John Neese anymore. John Neese isn't there. They traded him to Pittsburgh for Neil Walker, who's going to come in and play second base because Daniel Murphy's likely gone. So John Neese gone. Zach Wheeler not there until June. Bartolo Colon, he's in the rotation. Remember, went 15-13 2 years ago, 14-13 last year. This is a great signing for the Mets. If you don't believe me, listen to Anthony DiComo of MLB.com, who was talking about this signing earlier this week.
I think the Mets see him as a versatile piece. He can start in their rotation early in the season, and then once Zach Wheeler comes back from Tommy John surgery, if everyone's healthy, you can slot Bartolo Colon in the bullpen at that point. A valuable guy to have around because he can do both. He's proven to be effective in both roles, and really when the Mets traded away John Neese earlier this month, it left them with a hole that Bartolo Colon is now filling.
Bartolo Colon is going to fill that hole. And the Mets, remember, the Mets rely on their pitching. And Bartolo Colon is going to be a guy that helps the Mets hopefully get back to the World Series. So a great move on the field, but off the field, remember, Bartolo Colon is more than 40 years old. He's got nearly 20 years of Major League experience to his belt. He's been through it all. He's won a Cy Young. He's been the man on rotations in Cleveland and Anaheim. He's also been at the lowest point that you could be as a professional athlete. He was suspended for steroids. And he's a guy who can tell your young players, your young pitchers, what it's like to be a professional because he has truly seen it all. Anthony DiComo and MLB.com also echoed those sentiments this week.
With the Mets, he comes back to a team that he likes, to a clubhouse that he likes. Great mentor for some of the young players, especially some of the young Latin players in that clubhouse.
Bartolo Colon, a great role model, not something I had thought of before, but after hearing DeComo say that, it's absolutely true. He's a guy who can help your young players become professionals because he's seen it all. He's been at the top of the mountain. He's been at the bottom of the valley. Bartolo Colon back in Queens. And yes, enjoy it, Met fans, because bringing sexy back. All you fans that love the Bartolo memes on Twitter, you're going to get another year of it. Bartolo Colon back in Queens. It is Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. And a Mohawk Honda, look, they try to do things right all the time for their entire family of customers. A business can have everything, but without providing the customer with the professional service experience that they've always been looking for and deserve, nothing else matters. That's what we're trying to tell you. At Mohawk Honda, they have over 180 trained automotive experts going above and beyond to make sure that all of your needs, the customer's needs, are met. If new isn't for you, they inventory over 300 of the highest quality pre-owned vehicles, all at one low, below market value, no hassle price. Look, being number one, it isn't easy, but at Mohawk Honda, they treat their customers with respect and have been doing so for almost 100 years. That's 4 generations of the Heritage family serving the Capital Region. Shop their convenient Route 50 in Glenville location to see that Mohawk Honda, to join their family, because they always go out of their way to please you. Hey, the Giants, they've ended Patriots' perfect season before. Remember that? Can they end the Panthers' perfect season on Sunday? I'll tell you next. Patriots' perfect season. Remember the Pats 18-0 until they faced the G-Men in the Super Bowl? Well, the Giants are trying to end perfection tomorrow afternoon when they play the Carolina Panthers. Panthers come in at 13-0. Can the Giants beat them? No. The New York Giants cannot beat the Carolina Panthers tomorrow. And look, I know that, Brady, the history of the Giants, they just do these things. The 98 Broncos, the 2007 Pats, they could beat them all. Well, they did beat them. They're not going to beat the Panthers tomorrow. I'm sorry. And look, I've been on the Giants bandwagon more than anybody this year, and I've been the last one to hop off. I'm still not even entirely off with them in the NFC East. I still think they're dangerous if they get to the playoffs. But tomorrow, there's one reason why the Giants have no chance. The answer is Josh Norman. Josh Norman, the Panthers defensive back, is going to shut down Odell Beckham Jr. I can't even believe that I'm saying that, because I think Odell Beckham Jr. is the most electrifying, most playmaking wide receiver in football. I think Odell Beckham Jr. is flat out awesome. You know, he'll take a 7-yard slant and he'll take it 85 yards to the house. One-handed catch, juggling. He'll tap toe touch beautifully on the sideline. He can do it all, but he won't do it all tomorrow against Josh Norman. Josh Norman will be able to neutralize Odell Beckham Jr., and I have the proof right in front of me. Brady, how in the world is defensive back Josh Norman, who I've never even heard of, going to stop OBJ? Well, he's been doing it all season long, has Josh Norman. Week 1, holds the Jaguars' top receiver. Let's see. Allen Hurns, 2 catches, 14 yards. Allen Robinson, 0 catches on 3 targets. Week 2, DeAndre Hopkins, remember the guy who ended Darrelle Revis' career and exposed him and are proof that Darrelle Revis is done? 2 catches on 7 targets, 24 yards. The next week, Brandon Cooks of the Saints, 2 catches, 23 yards. And, by the way, a Norman interception. Mike Evans, targeted, did not have a catch for the Buccaneers. Vincent Jackson, 2 catches on 6 targets against Norman. In that game, Norman with another interception. Jordan Matthews of the Dolphins, no attempts even thrown his way. T.Y. Hilton, 1 catch on 3 targets, 15 yards. Des Bryant, 1 catch, 5 targets, 6 yards. Brandon Cooks, try again, 1 catch, 19 yards. And then Julio Jones, 33 yards on 4 catches. Those are some of the top receivers in football. Des Bryant, T.Y. Hilton, Julio Jones, Jordan Matthews, DeAndre Hopkins, some of the most electrifying receivers in football, all got squat on Josh Norman. And it's going to continue tomorrow. I don't know if the Giants, they don't have another weapon offensively that makes you think, okay, if they're going to take away OBJ, then we can go to this guy. They don't have that. Dwayne Harris has been injured. The tight end play is The Giants, they have no run game. The Giants have 0 run game. That has just gone totally by the wayside for Big Blue, and that's part of the reason why they're in the position that they're in the NFC East. Odell Beckham Jr., if he doesn't get going, the Giants don't get going. And Josh Norman, they're going to take Odell Beckham Jr. away. They just are. I'm sorry. The Giants, I still think they could be a dangerous team if they get into playoffs, but I don't think that they're getting in the playoffs. I just don't. Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the capital region. On the phone right now, Patch Albert, hockey player for the Adirondack Thunder. He's a Clifton Park native. And Patch, this ECHL journey has taken you from Elmira to Missouri, now to Glens Falls. What's it like for you to be back home playing in front of your fans in the 518?
It's definitely a really cool experience. I mean, it's been a while since I've been able to play near home, so to be able to come back and be able to play in front of friends and family again is really a cool experience.
What's the environment been like in Adirondack? We know the Glens Falls area has a history of minor league hockey, but the Phantom's gone, the Flames gone. Now we've got the Thunder in. What's been the environment like in the first season up there?
It's been great. I mean, the fans have been unbelievable. We've been winning a lot, so that obviously helps the cause, but can't say enough great things about being up to the Civic Center there.
The ECHL is equated to Double-A hockey, and we talk about minor league baseball. We have a familiarity with that grind, that lifestyle, the long bus rides, and just the incredible amount of time spent on the field trying to get ready to get to the next level. What's that like here for you in the ECHL? What's that grind like?
Well, you just play a lot of games in a short amount of time. Like, I mean, last weekend we had a 3-3, so we played 2 games at home. Then Sunday morning we had to wake up early and drive over to Manchester, New Hampshire to play. It's kind of like you get used to the bus rides and that kind of stuff. That's where the true grind comes in at this level.
We were talking off air, and I had to plead ignorance that, look, remember, I'm a baseball guy. I know how it works with affiliations when you talk about AA, AAA to get up to the majors. But the ECHL is a lot different. You spent time in Elmira, which is an affiliate of Buffalo. You spent time in Missouri, which is an affiliate of the Islanders. And now you're with Adirondack, which is an affiliate of the Flames. But you can still be traded by the ECHL teams without it coming from the NHL team directly, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, obviously, there's the East Coast level, which would be equatable to AA, and then the AHL, which the Albany Devils would be in, is AAA, and then obviously the NHL team would be the Major League team. But you can be under contract with just the AA team, and in that scenario, you can very easily get traded from one AA team to another AA team. If you're under contract with the AAA team, it's a little more difficult, but it also could still happen.
That is just fascinating to me that you can be in the affiliation with the Flames, but you're not necessarily property of the Flames directly. It's Patch Albert, Clifton Park native, player for the Adirondack Thunder on Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. And Patch, what is it that you specifically need to work on as you try to get up to the AAA, AHL level, and subsequently, hopefully, realize your dream of playing in the NHL?
I think just getting bigger and stronger and taking the game a little bit faster. Those are the three things that kind of everyone's always looking to do.
Patch, the decision to become a hockey player at the highest levels does not come without sacrifice. And you said it's been a long time since you've played in the Capital Region. You played at Shen for a couple of years, then transferred out. Now then we're talking prep school. You're talking junior leagues. Then you get to Boston College. The amount of travel needed to become a hockey player at the highest level is just extensive. What's that like? What's that grind like?
It's definitely tough. I mean, you miss out on a lot of things as a kid. Like family, weddings, and all that kind of stuff. And there's definitely a lot of sacrifices for your parents that they have to make to get you from one rink to the next. But hockey's one of those sports that once you get the grip on you, you're kind of stuck with it. And I couldn't be happier for the able to be playing at this level now and continuing to play into the future.
Patch Albert, Clifton Park native, won 2 national championships at Boston College, now playing in the ECHL for the Adirondack Thunder in their first season. Has the Thunder off to a great start. Patch, thanks for being with us. Congratulations on your success, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Patch Albert, another great story of a Capital Region athlete who's made it at the next level. And it's funny because I remember playing baseball with Patch Albert when I was 13 and he was 14 or something like that, and you heard that hockey was his main sport, but you never knew that he was going to be a guy that went on to help lead Boston College to 2 national championships, and now is just 2 steps away from playing in the NHL. So we'll continue to keep tabs on Patch and his success, as the Adirondack Thunder really are off to a great season in the ECHL. Again, the AA affiliate of the Calgary Flames. So it is Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number 1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. High school hoops note from last night. I was out at Colony at Guilderland. Guilderland wins that game 64-58. Andrew Sisko, 28 points and 10 boards in that game. And Guilderland really made a concerted effort to get the ball down low, something they didn't do in their last Friday loss against Shen. And Shen looks like they're on another world right now. They beat Saratoga 81-34 last night. But back to Guilderland, they get Sisko the ball down low, and that team is just so good when they're willing to do that. And Sisko makes that team go, and they did a good job getting it to him, and then him kicking out, creating some open shots. But my biggest takeaway from that game actually comes from the losing side of things, and it's Will Ibar, the point guard for Colony. He is just a sophomore, and he's one of the best point guards I've seen for that age in a long time. I mean, this kid was directing traffic all over the floor, made the right pass, didn't turn the ball over, shot it when he was open. He scored 9 points yesterday. That's his season high. He's not a selfish player. He likes to have the ball in his hands, but he doesn't look to force things on the offensive end, doesn't look to, looks to create, but looks to create for his teammates. That's the true definition of a point guard. So Colony fans, you got something to be excited about there. Will Ibar, just a sophomore, is a very, very good point guard. That's my biggest takeaway from high school hoops last night. Recapping the biggest story of the day, John Audino out as the head football coach at Union College. He'd been there for 24 years, had led the team to 5 NCAA tournaments, 152-89 career record. Again, they're calling it, quote, that he has retired to pursue other coaching opportunities. And to me, that verbiage doesn't sit well. You're retiring to pursue other coaching opportunities. But again, it's not just me who thinks that. Joe Calderon of CapitalRegionSportsNet.com was on with me before the show. He had this to say. That wording just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Say retiring. A month later, he's retiring to pursue other coaching opportunities. It just doesn't make sense. And again, full disclosure, I've covered Union athletics and I've got friends over there. But it is what it is. Like, everybody can see you're letting him go. At least that's my opinion. Now, I wasn't a fly on the wall in the conversation between John and the school, but anybody who had a tweet out that day or anybody that I've talked to, we're all kind of saying retiring with an opportunity to go coach somewhere else. Just doesn't make any sense.
Just does not make any sense. That wording in particular doesn't make a whole lot of sense. John Audino out as the head football coach at Union College after 24 years, and he had said just a month ago that he wanted to be back. Thought he had a good team, thought he had good coaches, thought he had a good staff, and thought he could get the job done. That was a month ago. Well, now he's retiring to pursue other coaching opportunities. It just doesn't pass the eye test to me. The full interview with Joe Calderon will be online at youtube.com/T1045 when this show ends in just about 1 minute or so. So we'll get that interview right up online. You can listen to the full thing there. John Audino out 24 years as the head football coach at Union College. If you missed it this week, Luke Goldstock, Niskayuna native, named to the All-ACC team, preseason All-ACC team, plays for University of North Carolina lacrosse, one of the arguably the best conference in the country and one of the best teams in that conference. So we will do this again next week, Capital Region Sports Saturday, wishing you all happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Happy holidays. Enjoy the family time. Enjoy some downtime. Enjoy all the great sports we have here locally. We'll do it again next week, 9 to 10 a.m.
It's Armin and Levac, weekdays 3 to 7.